Morning everybody, this is Will McDonald from Adelaide, South Australia, here to talk paintball jersey collections with you. I seem to be struggling though. I think my stream is struggling a bit here. Morning Amanda, morning Scout, if you guys are with me. Maybe we're stable now. Hopefully we're stable now. Okay, cool. Well, good morning everybody. Today is August 9th, 2020. Now my stream seems to be going up and down. Maybe let me know how I'm going. I see I've got Amanda in the chat and I've got Scout in the chat. My parents were in there a moment ago. Got Connor Johnston, a PB athlete. How's this stream? It seems to be going a little bit crazy to me. You guys got me out there? And yeah, Scout, I do have Mojo. Moj, how you going? So like I said, the stream seems to be going a little bit nutty here. Let me know in the chat if it's not coming through, and I might have to fix things. Okay, so today is August 9th, 2020, and coincidentally, it is Mo's birthday. Mo out of Sydney, plays for Sydney Syndicate. I am super stressed about the quality of this feed. Someone let me know how this is going. And today also is Total War out at Action Paintball. Audio fine, image stutters, but carry on. All right, will do. I'll trust you. I'm not sure why. This stresses me out. So at Action Paintball they're doing Total War today, and so I am confident that we'll have some reports from the Eskimo brothers out there. Now let's get into this. There we go. So Total War out there today. It's a really small image that I've got there, but I'm sure that'll prove to be a great day out there. So watch out, Eskimo brothers will be reporting on that, I'm sure. But I wanted to quickly whip through something that I was listening to on Play the Game podcast. So I'm sure you guys know that I pay attention to Play the Game podcast, Marcelo and Tyler Harmon's work. And they recently had an episode with Ryan Brand, who's the coach for San Antonio X Factor. And his story is interesting. He talks about when he was younger, making some rash decisions, having to deal with those consequences, and then finding his way back into the paintball scene and coaching X Factor. And it's a great story. It's very compelling. But he does mention something that's very, very interesting. Early on, he talks about Dan Napoli. Now, Dan Napoli is a movie maker, documentary maker, and he's invested a bit of time in paintball. He did something called Rivalry, he did the roster, he did 15, which was focusing on Dynasty, and then he did something called Best Kids in Texas, BKIT. I can see the stream is up and down, it's freaking me out. So BKIT is a video Dan Napoli did a little while ago, and just to cut to the chase here, recently it's been picked up by Gravitas Ventures, so that's a legitimate production company, and they asked Dan to rework the product to make it a little bit more to cater to people who are not already sort of paintball minded. And so he has taken time to do that, to develop it a little bit further. And in August and September, August or September, it should be available in iTunes or Amazon for purchase. Now the reason that was being put out there is, first of all, it'll be there for us to see again. But depending on how it goes on Amazon or iTunes, and that's an unknown measure really, it might be available on Netflix as well, which would really put paintball in a great mainstream platform. So if you get a chance to check that out on Amazon or iTunes, get around it. Dan Napoli does really, really good work. And just on the side, I also understand that during these COVID times, he's actually recovering from being quite ill. So good luck to Dan, and get around his work. Scout's telling me to relax and be more like Mojo. I hope this is still coming through. If this is glitchy, I'm gonna redo it. Fair feed, don't worry about it, says my dad. There's the promo for Best Kids in Texas, which, just long story short, Best Kids in Texas is basically, it's going back many years when it was kind of the trend for paintball teams. They tended to be populated by more older guys, sort of like the old guard. And the trend was that all the teams were like picking up a young player, like a fast, aggressive player, and that was part of their weapon. But these young guys were on these different teams hanging out with older men, and they'd come to tournaments and they'd start to find each other and get to know each other because that was their peer group. Even though they're on opposing teams, that was their peer group. So they started making connections with each other and created this sort of underground, not a team because they still played against each other, but there was sort of a unity amongst those guys, Best Kids in Texas, and they would like write BKIT on their headbands and on their shoes and whatever, and eventually I believe it became sort of the groundwork for San Antonio X Factor. Connor saying One Night in November is my favorite documentary. I don't know that one, Connor. I'll have to, if it's your favorite one, then I'm sure I would love it too, so I'll have to get around that one. Speaking of Connor, how good is this? So Connor of PB Athlete has been teasing a little bit of some new work he's been doing. He says this is his 2020 sponsored team, their newest 2020 sponsored team, Bradenton Wolfpack. Great bunch of guys from Florida, excited to see their team grow. And I saw he was teasing a little bit of a video on Instagram as well. So obviously he's holding back a little bit from revealing what those final jerseys look like, but I'm sure they're going to be pretty hot. So One Night in November, Aftershock 2011. Yeah, I definitely need to get around that one. Thanks for the tip. Really quickly, Paintball and Pop Culture, which is one of Dwayne's other ventures. He put together one that was on Big Bang Theory, and I was really curious to see this one all come together, and unfortunately there seems to be some sort of copyrights infringement, and it's not available to view, which is really frustrating. Hopefully he can find a way around that one. That definitely throws a spanner in the works of what he's intending to get done with this project. Speaking of Dwayne, he also shared this video of John Dresser shooting a MacDev Prime XTS. And the only reason I jumped on this is because I saw this in another forum where everyone was kind of losing it over the white Miami Rage jersey, which I've never seen before, but if anyone's got a rare jersey, it's John Dresser. So that was kind of cool. And just self-promotion here, I do get some people on here who are legends of the sport, and I thought maybe I could just put up their pieces of their interviews separate so you don't have to listen to all this awkward banter and musings. So I have released something called the Community Collections, and I'm just populating those with just the interview pieces that I've been doing over the course of this time. And now getting to Scotty. So Scotty Martin has his podcast Down Under Paintball. He's up to episode 23. This one is with Rob Rookie Ambrose. Rob is an old school SWAT player. He's traveled all around Australia and overseas. He's even played in the Paintball World Cup over in Florida, and gone up against legendary teams of the game like Philly All-Americans. And this is definitely a good, Scout says he likes the awkward banter. Yes, I'm still getting a red light on my computer. It's freaking me out that this stream is no good. So he's an old school SWAT player, and it's really interesting to hear his story, going from bolt action, going through paintball guns, into semi, into electro. And he tells a good story, and then he also kind of puts a plea out there at the end for any of old school paintballers to kind of just come back on the scene and get around it again, especially in the light of the new 10-man and that sort of thing. So you should check this out. It's worth watching. I see I've got Dwayne in the chat now as well. And so Rob sent me a couple of photos. Here's a picture of Rob with an old SWAT jersey shooting a mag with a half mask on. G'day, BB. And here's some of his swag there. Now he's got some trophies, he's got some medals, but that's one of 2 of his old school Renegade jerseys as well, and those things are quite sought after and quite valuable. All right, whipping through some things that are in the marketplace. Side note, like anytime I see some jerseys for sale, I just grab them, just chuck up here, have a little bit of extra content. But if anyone sees these and they don't know where to find them, shoot me a message. There's a Facebook group, or maybe, it's just a mate of mine I know, but just let me know. All right, here, Miami Rage. So this is, Miami Rage is like a legendary D2 team from back in the day, and this is Gus Blanco's jersey, and apparently he passed away shortly after making the roster for the team, so that's pretty sad, but those are well sought after jerseys. AC Diesel, which is now in the pro division, but this is a semi-pro version of their jersey. We got an Oakland Assassins and then a Diablo jersey, which is up. There's an Avalanche jersey. I have a Markowski Avalanche jersey, but this one is just blank. I like this. These are old school Vicious jerseys, and Vicious is kind of known for just hard black long sleeve t-shirts. So these are just training jerseys, but you can just see, even though it's just a black long sleeve and orange long sleeve, you can see the value that people are putting on them. And I also love that it says specifically no hull. We've also got a Dynapack jersey, so that's a combination of Impact and Dynasty from a venture in the Millennium series. That's Dalton Vanderbilt's jersey there. Here's a Chad Boucher Yaya jersey. I've noticed a Houston Heat jersey. I noticed he's been pretty active. I don't pay as much attention as I should to what he's doing, but he seems pretty active, social media and just kind of producing content. I should pay more attention to what he does. Connor, if you're still in the chat, here's some Art Chaos for you. It's a Sardarov jersey with autographs all abound. So that's pretty badass. And Baltimore Revo. People probably know that I'm a Revo fan. I kind of grew up in Baltimore. I do love Revo. This is like more of a later purple Revo look. Earlier on, they had a Revo jersey that had the Maryland flag, the Baltimore flag kind of insignia all through it. I'd love to get one of those. And closing in on the end of this, NYX, New York Extreme, just released their 2020 design from Rise Custom Gear, rocking the next Pro Open in Ohio in September, they say. So you can see a couple of versions of that jersey there, which are tough as nails, suiting New York Extreme. Yeah, Connor, you saw that. I think you tagged me in that, Connor. All right, and now I've got one community contribution this week. So this is just a quick whip through some of Andrew Linney's jerseys. He sent me a handful, and I'm just kind of doling them out over time. So he's got a personal one here. I don't know the name of this one. He gave me details on some, but not on all. But there's one of his personal jerseys there. This is a Mark Cresson, HK. Dynasty 2013 PSP Champions. Apparently Blake Yarber helped him get this one autographed by everyone except for Glenn Takamoto and Rusty Glaze are the only autographs he's missing on that one, which is pretty cool. I don't know anything about this one either. Mischief jersey. Looks cool, but I'm afraid I don't know anything about it. Now when I see that name on the back, aggressive, hang on, let me see, 42. Is that Linney's number? Yeah, okay, so it must be Linney's number. So aggressive. Cool. Got another jersey here, Josh Myers, again, HK. San Francisco explicit jersey, which Linney says is his favorite Margot 33 jersey. He's got a few, but he says this one is his favorite. It's probably one of the rarer ones, I'd imagine. And then he says his oldest jersey in his collection. I got Connor in here. Kiwi team from South Island, if I remember. So that's the Mischief team, I assume you're talking about, Connor? But now, Oakland Assassins, Riley O'Sullivan, Linny's oldest jersey in his collection. Yeah, I guess, Connor, you would know the teams around the place down there. All right, now, accelerating into my interview for today. Again, my little feed indicator is just flickering, and it just really stresses me out. So I hope this is watchable for you guys. So, Scotty Martin. Now, of late, Scotty's been doing these paintball, Down Under Paintball podcasts. He's also been the host of the Super Sevens webcast. He's in the commentary booth. He does a great job there. But then he's also obviously got a history of playing highly competitive paintball here in here in Australia and in Asia, throughout Asia. Dwayne says running smooth. Thanks, mate. So I got a chance to chat to Scotty. He's a very affable guy. He's very giving, and he and I have been checking in with each other on a few things around all of this content creation. And he gave me a chance to chat to him again. Most recently, my father saying, "It is watchable." That's a great standard, Dad. It's watchable. But before I jump into his latest contribution, I will say that I did a little short interview with Scotty in 2017 when I visited Sevens, and it was a really short chat just talking about his time as commentator and kind of how he kind of came into that role. And it was really like a supplemental way to transition into what I think is one of my favorite action sequences that I've ever done, and that's on the my Super Sevens Friday video, which hopefully you can find and watch, because that sequence is one of my favorites, and Scotty's really good in that. So check that out. It's on YouTube. My dad's saying you're worse. I don't know what you're saying, but it doesn't make me feel good. Anyway, let's take a few minutes and hang out with Scotty. First of all, Scotty, can I say congratulations on Down Under Paintball?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's done a lot better than I thought it would. So, yeah, I'm really happy with the reception it's received. But it's all a big learning experience. Like every time I talk to someone, I'm just, they'll drop 4 or 5 names that I might have forgotten or never even heard of, and then that just you look into that person, or you start following like a little bit about them, and then it just keeps like getting wider and wider. And yeah, there's a lot of history in it. It's sort of unfortunately, I guess, without the internet and without the way that we're like recording things these days, it's sort of just been forgotten. It's weird because like for me, it was for so long. I just like all this stuff was happening, but while I was playing, I was just I was in my lane, just so like focused on exactly what I was doing at that time. But now I could sit back and watch it. Actually, it's just like all these things were happening the whole time that I was, focused on my one little tiny world. And it's crazy just, how big paintball is. I didn't think it was as, to me, it was Sydney and that was about it.
Okay, let's talk about some jerseys now.
Yeah, sweet.
So start us anywhere you'd like.
Yeah, all right. Well, I'll unfortunately my first SWAT jersey. So I'll give a bit of background on my collection. So over the years I had quite a few jerseys. Did like some jersey trades and things like that. Collected jerseys from teams that I guessed it on, and as the sport, as I played less and when I got my injury, I sort of was like, no, I need to just sort of step away from the sport, and so I gave a lot of things away. Handed a lot of gear to new players, and sometimes I would just turn up to a practice and just be like, here's a gear bag full of stuff, take it, or maybe like $10 for something here and there. So I see my jerseys out there every now and again, but none of them have my name on it. So that's sort of where, it's something it was one of the old school pros told me when I was pretty young, like laughed at me once. They said, well, why are you wearing someone else's name on your back? I said, oh, it's a cool thing. I want to respect that player. And they said, no, like you got to respect yourself. So my first actual SWAT jersey that I kept. Here we are. Yeah, so That's the jersey. Is that?
Yeah.
No, this is yeah, back then as well. I was a cool kid, so I used to always spell my name with a K. Uh, so
Okay.
that's just how yeah, my later jerseys didn't have that. Yeah, that's right. So we got this jersey just before World Cup Asia. So that was so we played the Super Sevens that year in the old like grey skull jersey, and then yeah, moved on to this one just for World Cup Asia. So we got heaps of new gear that event. That was really cool. Yeah, and it was towards the end of Darren Clegg's career. I don't know if you know who he is, but he was a
No.
massive, yeah, big idol of mine. Hopefully, I'll have him on the show soon, so people can get to know who he was. But he was like the hotness, like the real good paintball player in Sydney. And then getting to play with Adam and another guy, Sonic, all the old school SWAT guys before they were retired. So that was a fun event. Yeah. So this is the next SWAT jersey. So the pretty plain. I think this is where you notice our jerseys. So yeah, this one I think I was actually a bit annoyed because it had the C on
The
it. I was
C.
like, no, just spell it with a K. So yeah, this is also I picked up the number 22. It was Andy Copcock. Do you know who he is? So
No, I don't think so.
he played for the Philly All Americans back in the day. He was one of the Americans that first came over. With Adam and those guys. He sort of, we jokingly were talking about this number, and somehow 22 came up. He was teaching me how to do maths. 2 times 2 equals 22. So that's where 22 came from.
Okay. 2 times
Yeah,
2 equals 22. All right.
yeah, paintball maths. All right, yeah. So this is my least favorite SWAT jersey.
Okay.
But I say least favorite, but I think we had the most amount of success with this jerseys. And we held on to these ones for quite a while. You can see a theme here because we were doing a lot of travel. So Mike was always putting anywhere you could find. Where are we? Yeah, it's got Southern Cross. It's got the Australian flag all over it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike wanted people to know we were from Australia, but I just couldn't. I was not a fan. So this was so people think SWAT get a lot of cool things. They're like, oh, you guys are on SWAT, like you get all the cool gear. Well, Mike was, this is when Mike had started his Paintball Assassin brand. So this was like his flagship, like wanted this jersey, wanted people to get in it. So SWAT is the crash test dummies. We
Yeah.
get I remember putting jerseys on and like you'd play 1 point. No, Mike, the seam ripped. Oh, you guys are diving too hard. And it's like, Mike, that's what we need to do. Like, so we were always the testers. So we get a lot of broken gear. So yeah, I do remember having several of this jersey because yeah, we were testing it a lot. But
Used
Mike
them up.
really wanted to display that you could get different colored piping on the jersey. So we got this weird green, yeah, just I don't know this thing here. There was a lot of things,
Oh,
but it
I don't
was
know.
free.
I
So
don't
that's
mind
good.
that. I don't mind the piping. I have a jersey that's got red piping all around it. I like that.
Yeah, red's cool. I just didn't like this color. I don't know. Yeah, it was a cool jersey, but it was just out of all of them, was my least favorite, just because for that reason. Well, me and Matt Roberts just used to always, anything Mike came out with it, he thought it was a cool idea. We always tried to put it on him. So yeah, there was a lot of conversation about the green piping. So yeah, then this is my last or second last jersey. So this one's sort of like, to me, the iconic. Yeah, how are you going seeing the jerseys? All good?
Yeah, no,
You
it's all
want me to
good.
move
It's
back?
good.
Yeah.
I was just trying
So,
to read. Is that say killing since certain date?
yeah, so a lot of the
91.
91. Yep. A lot of Mike's jerseys, um, yeah, that want to always throw back to, like, I think Mike and that have done some thinking and some, going back in the books. And I think they actually predate like the Iron Man, like Bob Long's Iron Man and stuff like that. So I think like Sydney SWAT could be, like Mike always says it is, but I'm pretty sure it could be the oldest paintball team in the world.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, this jersey here, I just, like, this was just when we were rolling. Like, this was just good times in this jersey. This is when things were starting to click, and when we was really starting to fire off and get all our W's was in this jersey here. So the one thing I was just having a look at there, something I remember. I don't even know if is Sly still around?
Oh,
Do they still exist?
uh,
Yeah.
the last thing I remember Sly doing was the Sly Profits, and those are,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
And they did
that's what I
barrels too,
also.
no?
Yeah, we spent like 2 seasons in the Sly Profits, the masks, and
Hmm.
they weren't good.
Yeah. Was
Yeah,
that was that just before Envious?
yeah. So yeah, that's right. This was that the yeah before MVS and that big fold. So yeah, so I had the season off in 2014 as well. So when MVS got formed, that was when I had a break for a year too. So this was like the last sort of yeah, when I was like full time with SWAT, I guess was my last jersey. Yeah, I had to have a little break from the sport. That was when yeah other things got in the way, and it was a tough time when the Simpsons left and MVS got formed, and I wasn't really quite sure what I wanted to do, which team I wanted to play for, and I also was halfway on the fence of whether I should leave or not. So that was just the time I thought it was a good time to sort of step out there. Yeah, some of the wins came easy, but yeah, that year was definitely that was hard. Yeah, 2013.
There you go. A few minutes with Scotty. Now, before I just throw to some things in the chat there, Scotty gave me, we talked for an hour. I recorded about over an hour's worth of content. And what I love about Scott is he's very amiable, he's very affable. He has a lot to talk about the positive side of paintball, but he also doesn't hesitate to kind of lapse into some of the more challenging aspects of paintball. I think he'll often talk about the isolation and the pressure of being a captain, and the fact that it's not always just like G's and podiums and stuff like that. And yeah, he's very open and honest about that, especially recently. And I think there's a lot to that, and something that we should be talking about more often. Now, in the chat, let's see, there's a few things. So it's interesting. I don't know if it was in that segment or another one, because I had to cut that one into segments, and I've got another one that I'll drop later on. But he talks about just kind of being, quote unquote, in his own lane in the Sydney scene, and not being aware of so many other things around the country that, that I would know of. But same thing. I've realized in my time how I've just been in my own lane over the years. And it's evidence in our chat here, people talking about Cleggy, who, for all I know, I do have a connection with him on Facebook. But yeah, there's so much I'm still learning about all of this paintball community and in general. I mean, Scout's in the chat, he can tell you I don't know anything. Let me see, I've got BB saying Cleggy's an Aussie PB legend, real nice bloke to boot. Dwayne saying Cleggy was Paintball Shop's Jonesy long before Jonesy existed, to which I do reply that Jonesy has always existed. He was SWAT's Marden Fitton before they existed. Let me see, Amanda saying Cleggy was great. And Connor saying that you had Sly Profits as well, and you had a hard time breathing in them. Well, I have heard tell, but I think I edited out, that some players have actually drilled holes in their Sly Profits to allow better breathing and communication through them. Let me see. PBHQ saying, I think Tauntaun predates SWAT. I also had Profits, found them comfy but heavy and a little bit claustrophobic. I think there's probably a few teams that might predate SWAT, but I think it might be a matter of consistent years. Like, I don't know if there are some teams that popped up and then dropped off, but whatever, I don't know, and it's not even my case to argue, so there it is. So Scotty's a legend. If you don't do so already, check out his Down Under Paintball series. He's growing it, he's putting a lot of time and effort into it, and he's really casting quite a wide net and getting a big cross-section of the paintball community involved, so it's great to hear everyone else's stories. Now, what I'm going to finish up today, because I'm pretty much exhausted all of my jerseys except for, you know, like the old black long sleeve jerseys. I've just grabbed a couple of my masks to show here. So if you'll bear with me, I'm gonna show off a couple of masks. So obviously I used to play for a paintball team back in the day, Rockin' Cox, out of the States. And I think it was last night, maybe the day before, I actually dropped like the last minute of a video I'd made in 2008. And it's a solid minute of people just telling each other to get out. And I think it's hilarious. And that was like my buddy Randy's house. That was his backyard, and we'd set up an airfield and play there. And one day Randy came and brought me a sticker that I then put on my goggles. And at the time I thought, well, I have arrived. I have a cool sticker on my goggles. That's, you know, that's my team. I was like, it's not going to get any better than that. Also, let me just take a moment to point out the old school white frame JTs, hard as nails, because that's the way we rolled back in the day. But I thought that was really cool. So that would be like, I don't know, 2007, 2008 we did that. And I thought that was awesome. This has just been sitting in my shed for years and years and years. And then maybe sometime in 2014, 2015, some of the guys on our sort of secondary team called the Revolution, RC Revolution, they're really loving the grills, V-Force grills. And so they got these custom wraps, these custom RC wraps that they had done. And again, I then thought, well, if I hadn't arrived before, I certainly have now. So they had these things done. Now they're just stickers, but I think they hold up pretty well. I don't know how you guys can see that. So you can see we've got the Rockin' Cox rooster. We've got the paisley through those. It's hard to see, but Hurtin' Feelings on the top. So that paisley pattern that kind of would go along with our jerseys. The red is more of a burgundy than the red that we had, but so in my shed with all my stuff, I kind of have these two masks sitting up there, almost like bookends, kind of like, you know, the beginning and close to the end. I don't wear these anymore. They're kind of a little bit old, like beat up, and the straps are a little bit blown out, so they're just kind of like just part of the collection. BB saying that looks mad. Yeah, I mean, the old school flex, this sticker aside, the old school flex always looks awesome. But yeah, I was pretty psyched with that. Connor always wanted one of those mask wraps. Well, I'm sure they still make them somewhere. Obviously not the RC ones, but I'm sure they're not too hard. But another reason that meant a lot to me is I don't even know, other than just being connected through Facebook, I don't even know if I knew or ever met the guy that made these. So it's another one of those things where you create something, you launch it, and then it ends up with a life of its own, and it just kind of carries on. And you know, I would just be in the loop about how this team that I helped establish starts creating new things and developing new content and stuff like that. And I think that's pretty wicked. All right, I think that's all I got for you guys today. Hopefully this stream, I've had a green light for quite some time now. Jared Cozier may be able to do something for you, Connor. I'm assuming you're meaning with the wraps. Now, for those of you in here, so I know I've had my folks at home. I've got Connor, Amanda, my boy Scout. Dwayne's popped in, BB's in here. Anyone else who I may have missed, thanks for that. Thanks for being here. It definitely makes it less lonely. And I hope the stream was all right at the beginning. So tomorrow, make sure that you are in the chat at PBHQ, where Dwayne does all the heavy lifting, as I say every week. And he'll undoubtedly have a video from Adam Connolly for today's Total War game out there. And I'm sure the Eskimo Brothers are probably going to be doing some live streaming out there as well. So meantime, I'll see you guys next week. Be safe, do the right thing, don't be naughty, drink your milk, and yeah, get around it.